Hello my dear YouTube friends, it's Carolina and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to be back with another video. The spring is slowly peeking around the corner and weather is turning from this to this. I think it's going to be a very exciting video because today I'm finally going to tell you the story about my van life dream. And I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but it was a bit hard to do it emotionally, and now I feel that it is the very right moment to make this video. So let's move back to 2019. It was my first year in university, and around that time this whole van life thing started to get more popular. And as soon as me and my boyfriend got familiar with this idea, we just fell in love. We were like, imagine that you live in a car and you have all those endless possibilities on where to go and where to stay, but at the same time you have your whole home with you. And you don't have to pay rent or mortgage, and with that you're able to save even more money. And it felt so freeing and satisfying at the same time. So we put it on our bucket list because at the time we were just poor college students and we didn't even have the proper jobs yet, so we just couldn't afford it at the time. But in the August 2020 we went for a road trip with my boyfriend's car. We went from Estonia through Finland to North Norway. And my boyfriend has a smaller car, it's a Mazda 3, but we didn't even unpack our tent once. So this trip was about 10 days long, and every single night we slept in the car. And it was so cool. We made food by ourselves, we explored mountains, we saw lots of nature, drove around with our car, and it was just amazing. None of us had been in North Scandinavia before, but just somehow we knew that we belonged there. We felt the urge to go to the mountains for years before that. And we saw so many camper vans on our trip there, and it just increased this inner urge to get a van ourselves and rebuild it into a camper van. As the years went by, we collected some money, and the thought of getting a van was always in the back of our heads. So once we had a normal amount of money and could have bought a reasonable van, not a piece of junk, we just couldn't find the van that would feel right for us. So we just thought that we're going to let this go and the right van will eventually show up. So in the beginning of July last year, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna see what's on the market and maybe there is something that we're going to like. And there it was. This 2014 yellow Ford Transit. The price was very good, it had the exact length and height that we were searching for, and I just fell in love immediately. But here comes the biggest plot twist of the story. So it was clearly mentioned that something's wrong with the engine and this van needs an engine fix. But the seller did not know what's exactly wrong with it, and he said that the engine is working and the van is driving, but something was ticking and he did not know what's wrong with it. And I just thought that since it is driving, it just can't be that bad. I'm going to quickly fix the engine and then I'm going to have the perfect van to build it into a camper van. And I already had all these ideas in my head of the videos I'm going to make and the experience I'm going to get, and I was just so happy I finally found the one. But then I started facing problems. First of all, I couldn't find anyone who would be willing to fix the engine. Since I myself did not know what's wrong with it, I had to find someone who could find out what's wrong with it and then fix it. So 2 weeks later, with the help of my dad, we found a guy who said that he was willing to do this. And they promised that they can do this in a week, and I was so happy. We drove the van there and I thought that in a week I'm going to get my van back and then I can start all the building process. But once again, little did I know, So this whole engine fix took a month and a half, and it took more money. This engine fix took more money than I paid for the van. And all those 6 weeks were just filled with lots and lots of stress. There was so much miscommunication and misunderstanding with the workshop, and they always postponed the end date when the engine would be fixed and the van would be ready for me. So a month and a half later, when I was supposed to go get my van, the new problem came up. So first of all, they thought that there was one part in the engine that was broken and caused the engine failure. And when they replaced all the parts, they put the engine back together, they put the engine in the van. Then they discovered that the high pressure pump was broken, and because of that, the fuel got in the engine and this caused the engine failure. So now I had to replace the high pressure pump. And if you don't know, it is an expensive part. It's not cheap at all. And I had already invested so much money in this engine fix, and I had no other option than to buy this pump, because without that, the engine would not work normally. So I bought this high pressure pump, and with that, my whole money was gone. So as I mentioned in my previous video, I quit my job in February last year because of my back problems, and I was unemployed this whole time. So I did not have any money coming in monthly, and I was paying for everything from my savings. And of course, when I was buying a van that needed an engine fix, I knew that I was taking a risk, but I just never thought that it could be that bad and that expensive. And when this high pressure pump was replaced and the engine was finally okay, I got the keys, I drove away with the van. I did not have the right emotions in me. I thought that once the engine is going to be fixed, I'm going to be super happy and super enthusiastic about the camper build, but I just did not want to see this van anymore. I just couldn't. And after that, some smaller problems started appearing, and I was just so done with it. I just thought that it's never going to be fixed and it's never going to be okay and running smoothly. And the winter came, and I just did not want to invest in winter tires. I did not want to drive this van, so we just sat at my parents' backyard for the whole winter. And I literally didn't even want to sit in this van. And my parents thought that I'm just being too crazy about it, but my boyfriend understood me and he was very supportive about it. And he said that once we are going to fix all the smaller problems and it's going to run smoothly, this emotion will go away and eventually I will feel happy about this van and perhaps even want to leave it. Because at some point I just wanted to sell it and be over with it. I was just so done. So as always, my boyfriend was right, and about a month ago we started working on the van again. And a couple of days back we found the last problem maker. So the last problem maker why this van is still not running smoothly is the EGR valve. And that is also one of the first things that I replaced in this van, but it seems that you have to connect the EGR valve. If you replace it, you have to connect the new one with the van through the computer. So we just disconnected it and the problem was gone. And then we connected it back and the problem was back. So now we just have to connect the computer and connect the EGR valve with the van through the computer, and then it all should be fixed. Like, really fixed for once. And with this news and driving it for a couple of weeks, I am slowly getting this good feeling back. So as I mentioned before, I wanted to sell this van for a long time because this whole process just got too overwhelming for me and I wanted nothing to do with this van anymore. And maybe you will also think that those are just some stupid emotions, and that's okay. But I really wanted to share my true emotions and my true feelings with you, in case some of you are in a similar situation. I think it's very important to also show the other side of the story. And with this story, I really wanted to show you that not all the projects are going to be successful, and that is also okay. And I myself definitely learned a lot through this process. I learned how to respond on different situations, and I learned to see good in every bad and be grateful for the lessons that every situation has to teach us. And thankfully for me, this whole story is turning out okay. It's turning out better than I thought that it's going to turn out. But man, how many nerves I left in this process. There was a lot. So with that being said, the plan for now is to deal with this EGR valve to connect it with the car. After that, I want to get bigger wheels and tires, and after that we have to deal with the bodywork. We have a bit of rust here and there. It's not critical, but we have to deal with it. And once the body is smooth and beautiful, then we hopefully can start the camper build. I think that's it for this video. If you have any additional questions, they're very welcome and you can leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so that I can see you in my next video. So for now, I'm going to enjoy my coffee and waffles, and I thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!